Yeah, hello and welcome to Wargame Red Dragon cast. Today I have a replay I downloaded from the website. I tried to remember the link to put it in the description so you can download replays for yourself. And what I found was a game between the four best players in the world, if you ask me. I played myself against those guys, and you can see their statistics. They have almost like 100% win rate on ranked games, and they're very, very good. So it's not a fake statistic. And we have them playing against each other. I believe right now, Random and Hunters are number 1 and 2 of the ladder, and they are 3 and 4. But they kind of changed. Like in this game, it was vice versa. And normally they are also team players. So these two, they belong to one team, and these two belong to one team. They always play in this combination. So we also have a map, which is a ranked play map. I'm not sure if that was a ranked game. Could be. But is it at least a ranked map? So it's kind of a fair map. Some maps are rather unfair, but this one is fair. And let's start it. What we most likely will see with both teams is the standard meta game nowadays, which consists of light tanks, cost 10 to 15 per tank. Most likely the MK2 for the NATO forces, or a Zoo model, Zoo 100, Zoo 100, 122, I always forget the numbers, on the packed side. And then you have behind that one guy that can destroy units, like a real tank or someone with a rocket launcher. That's the meta game, and I'm pretty sure we'll see it here too. And we also will most likely see an opening where people bring down some helicopter with troops like SAS or the packed side, what's it called, F9 something, and put them in places where they can shoot other helicopters and scout. But let's see. Learn a little faster so we can have some action. Gonna be a long game, so really excited. Yeah, we see the start of the blob. What I see with this team here very often is that they use, instead of the Ontos, they use this 103mm or 106mm unit. I'm not really sure why they believe this unit is better than the Ontos, because the Ontos has 4 cannons and can shoot those 4 cannons in really a short duration, it's like shooting. And while the first one is reloading, the other gun shoots. So, and when you're done with the fourth gun, then the first gun is already ready to shoot again. So it's more like an MG. Not as fast as MG, of course, but you know what I mean. It's going really fast. So what? I just checked the numbers. I mean, I know the unit, but I just want to know for sure if there's something I overlooked, because I see no advantage to this unit compared to the Ontos, and you can have the Ontos in an international deck, but maybe it's not international what he's using. So let's have a look. Yeah, I don't really see the advantage. Of course, the Ontos cost a little bit more, but the only real difference is that those units here have more fuel, so you can use them more often on the field, while the Ontos you place somewhere and then you don't move it anymore, because if you move it too much, it won't move anymore because of the fuel. It's really a problem with the Ontos. That's the only real difference I see here, but you can put both units in. It's not that they cost much. So I'm not sure why they're using this unit. Okay, now here, the standard opening, he brings some unit on the side to defend. On the other side, they're exactly the same. The only difference is they have some MK5 Panzer here. Yeah, so it's but the standard defense. I'm not sure you need 6 of them, but they don't cost too much, so that's working. And on the right side, the rush for the cities. Here, standard opening 2. I mean, you always see with Hunter that he's using some cheap helicopter in the front row. And then you have the Celtics that can shoot other helicopters. So mainly to shoot down the scout, sometimes shoot down even the airplane spam that some teams like Steel or Leica like to use. But one helicopter is never enough for it. And then, of course, to shoot down some helicopter. If a helicopter would go here to place some Marines or an SAS, you can shoot it down. And a helicopter with SAS costs 50 points. So then he would almost have been worthwhile, the Celtic already. So on the right side, he goes for the city here to control it. What you normally need to do on this map is, when you start here, you can only go for the right side. If you go on the left river side, you normally get shot down if the top player here is using Avengers or something he can fire on the move and is moving directly from his starting positions down the street. Because if he moves down the street, he can be here while you stand here and you want to start unloading and then you die. We have tested this many times, so normally you should never try to go to the left side because this player almost always goes with a fast anti-helicopter thing down the street. But let's see how they do it. And then of course you have here the Centurion makeup, and here's what I said before. You have these sheep tanks, they will absorb some fires and you know where the enemy is. And then you have an expensive tank here that will kill the enemy. That's really the standard metagame nowadays. The only thing that differs is if people use the MK5 model or they use some super cheap units. The advantage of the MK5 model is that it is the only tank with an front armor of 9 points for 15 points buying cost. So this one here actually takes a lot of damage. But you can also just use cheap tanks for 10 points or even 15 points with more firepower, like in Ontos, I said before. It's also working perfectly. So, and on the other side, we also have NATO. Here's some infantry to secure the city, also the MK5. In my opinion, they need to nerf the MK5. It's, yeah, here's what we really could expect. You have these, what's that, in Roland? Okay, I believe it's a mistake to have a Roland here, but, well, if he had an Avenger would fire faster, he would fire on the move, and he would already be here and would fire on the helicopter. Right now, all the helicopter, I mean, all of the helicopter, they unload their troops, and that was really a micro mistake in the opening. If he had brought just one Avenger or two, maybe, and you would have fired on the helicopter anyway, but still you would move and would be able to fire on the other helicopter. So we tested this opening for the map. If you really bring your Avenger on this street here, you would be able to shoot everyone down. So you see this one here, this is Bison, whatever it's in English, you call it Bison. That's almost as fast as the Avenger is. So the Avenger would have been here when the helicopter first was sighted, which means the Avenger would have easily shot down some of the helicopters. Maybe not all, because it's really a lot of helicopters, but there's no need to let the enemy go into every damn building. That was a huge blow. I mean, it doesn't look like much right now, but on this level, with those players, with high-skilled players, if you lose this side here on the top player, then you really have trouble come back. I mean, this area here is normally where you put your command truck, and I don't see how you want to put safely your command truck here later when here the enemy has all his infantry inside. Interesting enough is that his helicopters on the top here, instead of moving down here, it's most likely because he spotted the Celtic. So now he goes in the city here, going for fights, but the good thing is he brought his pioneers in and they couldn't be intercepted yet, which means most likely those Jägers will die, which is not a cheap thing. So now we see also here the firepowers coming in. Always, when you start and have an opening, always bring cheap tanks and at least one tank or something that can kill people. So this one is a good opening here, well, except for the Avenger mistake if you ask me. But this opening is really good because he can give firepower to shoot some infantry. As you see, it's not too much damage because they normally miss. If they hit, they really kill, but normally they really miss very often. And rockets on the other side. Here's the expensive tank to snipe some stuff. MK11 is the expensive version. So, but this one here is able to finish off 4 of those MK11s, so which means this one is going down pretty easy. I'm not sure by it going into the fight. Here's some support, but I don't see it really helping. Maybe he was hoping for the light rifleman to have a lucky shot, but well, actually it's not even helping him. It's the wrong side in total. There was not even a chance that he had, could win the fight. And this tank didn't even help. If he had moved this tank on the front here, he would have a chance, and 2 of them maybe on mid-range. But I don't really see that was a smart move. I just think he's maybe over-microed. It's too much to do for him in the first seconds. That happens very often to everyone. So that was the opening here. Now we have these cheap tanks here. Well, tanks is too much, but I'm still not convinced why they use this one here. For example, in this area here, you want to have firepower. Let's go for normal speed. You want to have firepower, and an Ontos brings 4 times the firepower for the same price, or almost the same price in this 106, whatever it's called. This one here. The only difference is you can move it back and forth and you still have some ammunition. Oh, Thunderbolt, very nice. And the Thunderbolt got down the tank. Well, one must say, he was a little exposed. I mean, everything he shot from here, he could have shot from here as well, and then if he sees the Thunderbolt, you see it soon enough, he can just move a little back. But also here, some of the Celtics, they were not on front row. to intercept the Thunderbolt, but it's really hard to intercept him. But the thing is, it will normally shoot 2 rockets a Thunderbolt, and then need a second fly in, except it's very, very lucky. If you move towards the Thunderbolt, it can shoot 4 rockets in one strafe, then normally need to fly twice. And then when you have your Celtic in front, it won't fly twice. Also the SAS, it's a little unlucky placed. From here you have, you cannot shoot fast enough on any airplane that goes in here. It's better positioned if you have it on the side. But then, okay, if you place it on the side, you have the problem that you're exposed to some of the enemy fire. So let's see how it goes on the other side. Yeah, nothing happening on the left side, which is not really surprising. You normally just place your units here, anti-scout units, to make sure nobody is sneaking behind your lines. And here's the defense, and here's the defense. So pretty much all of the fighting goes in here. One thing that is really worthwhile to noting is, if you control those buildings and this forest here, you control the whole Gulf sector, at least as a south player. He's scouting, so which means you can bring in now in here some rocket launcher. You need to be careful because this one is actually a hill. It's hard to see, but when you zoom in you can actually see it's a hill. So you don't have sight if you place your units. And sometimes you have more sight when you place it on top on the hill and not on the button. So it's really important to zoom in and make sure you place your units right, but then you place them here in the right position. You can easily shoot those guys on this place. You can have a good scout here that looks into the enemy area and so on. So it's really, really useful. Not sure why there's napalm now. Okay. I mean, the reinforcement, of course, they come over the bridge, but then most of them can swim already, and he controls the other bridge, so you can just go over this one. So to put some napalm down here only means he used the napalm bomber and exposed him to enemy fire, and there's no benefit to it. So here he needs really some reinforcements, because those buildings, they're really, really, really important. I believe that was the reason why he napalmed this, to make it, so it's slower to bring in reinforcement. But then here's no reinforcement whatever coming, and then still most reinforcements can swim nowadays. So, but here the fighting is going pretty well for the blue team. They're both NATO, so I call them blue team now. I try not to move the mouse too much. Yeah, and what you can see here now is it's a nice example why you have cheap tanks. This cheap tank is going in the middle and then expose the Jäger, because the Jäger will fire on the cheap tank. He can take, I believe, 3 or 4 hits, but hits. So which means this one sometimes needs to fire like 5 or 6 times, while 3 is like, everyone's firing twice. But it gives you enough time to spot him and bring some units to fire on him. So sometimes you kill the infantry in total if you have good units. Well, here he didn't do it because he had not enough firepower in the background. So one tank in the front and the other one on long range was maybe not as efficient as possible. He should move in here. I mean, first of all, you should know that those rockets sometimes, at some point they must be empty, right? This one has already shot all 16 rockets. And I mean, he has a feeling, he knows this tanks, they're visible to the enemy, otherwise they would be blinking. Well, if they would place them in the bush, and then he sees they're not blinking, which means they're visible to the enemy, and when the enemy infantry is not shooting on them, it most likely means they're out of ammo. And then he knows he can move in his units into the forest, and if he's in the forest, he controls the sector basically. Just as an option. So on the other side, here's the same going on, all the tanks in one tank. The advantage by having them in 1 instead of 2 or 3 or 4 is that you're not as easily hit, and also you can easier micromanagement those units. The disadvantage is the enemy can really focus units that have less life points. So this one they have all 100%, but sometimes if you have 4 in 1 unit, like, well, you know what I mean, right? Like here's a 2 in 1 unit, and if you have 4 in 1 unit, then one unit cannot be targeted. You can only target all 4 at the same time, which means it's lucky if you hit the unit you want to kill. For example, if this one would be together with this one, you cannot target the one with 4 life points. You have to target both, and then by luck it's decided which one you hit. So the infantry now is dying, and here's some nice flamethrower tank, and he's nice micro unit. I believe this was the manual fire he used. And yeah, he's clearing out all the buildings. But here also a nice micromanagement from Random. He has all his infantry not in the front row anymore because he expected something like this one, maybe cheap tanks infantry that goes first so that the other one sees him and can fire on him, so he moved to the second row. But they really need reinforcement, otherwise they're gonna die. Here's a new tank. The other one is killed by the Thunderbolt. And he needs to be really careful. I believe this damage he has here, he took maybe from another Thunderbolt I've overseen. So he knows there's a Thunderbolt on the field. And he knows he can't go out on the field anymore. So he goes really in the safe forest. He is pink, yeah. Then tell him most likely that he has a an expensive Shiki. So the thing is, you need to put it front and back all the time. If you just stand here, your tank is doing nothing. If it would stand here, it can shoot, kill, and then move back and forth, back and forth. He only brings in his Thunderbolt and the other airplanes to shoot him when he can see him and has an idea he can shoot him. So, but in this case, if he moves back and forth, like he's doing right now, then you cannot be sure. Whoa, that is side armor, that is back armor, and that is... Oh no, is this back armor? Where's the back? No, he's moving backwards. Very well. Funny thing in the game is, they move backwards as fast as forwards, so there's no reason to expose your back to the enemy front if you can just move as fast backwards. And so that's he's doing. He's placing it maybe here, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if it works if you place it here and you have cover from the left and the right side. I need to try this one. So, yeah, here's nothing going on, and here's nothing going on either at the moment. It's just the standard shooting from house to house. It's not too exciting. The thing here is the infantry here is really expensive from the blue side, and they get shot down piece by piece. I mean, it takes some time, but they're really expensive infantry and they're not killing too many units. And those tanks here, they don't take too much damage from them, and the infantry also takes not too much damage. So in total, I would say the red team makes more points here right now than the blue team. Oh, helicopter on the left side. That's really tricky. Because in SAS you have to expect an SAS here or some anti-air helicopter. I always try to zoom in to give us some action. It's not easy in a game where you wanna have the overview. And down. I'm not sure why he did that. I mean, to snipe a tank is a nice thing, but we checked it. If you want to snipe a tank with a front armor of 9 points, you need at least 23 AP in your rockets. So unless you bring an Apache, or what's the other thing called, I forgot the name, you have no chance to snipe it with 1 rocket. And if you need 2 rockets, well, you need 2 hits, so you need at least 3 or 4 shots. It's not even worthwhile to snipe those tanks with those normal helicopters. And we were surprised by it too, because if you take the formula for the damage here, the AP formula, normally you should die before one rocket, but they don't. So what's going on here? Lynx helicopter, they're just scouting, I guess. Yeah. Just seeing if something is in the forest, and yes it is. Very surprising. I'm not sure why they all go for the Skyhawk. I'm not a big fan of it. Well, I see the advantage of the Skyhawk. The advantage of the Skyhawk compared to other bombers is he can fire on long range. As you've seen, he can fire from here and then evac. Most bombers need to fly over the target or very, very close. And the other advantage, compared, let's say, to the Thunderbolt, when you want to snipe tanks, is you can fire indirect or manual or whatever you want to call it. You know, when it's invisible, you can just fire the place. While if you have the Thunderbolt and want to fire this place here, you can only use the Avenger gun or whatever it's called. You know, this Gatling gun he has. You cannot use the rockets. Yeah, check out the anti-air, how much it is and where it is. And now Kahu. Kahu is, maybe I need to show it longer, has Maverick rockets and it's good to snipe tanks. The thing is, it's not really accurate as you just saw. But the other advantage again is you can do it relatively cheap. Well, he's done, right? You can do it for not too much money, and it's really effective if you place it against a tank, like this one here. I'm not 100% sure why he's using his tank in open again. I mean, these buildings, they were in control of the enemy, so they could have some infantry here, like the Chu Mud, which is not too far away. And if you have 2 Chu Mud here in one of these buildings, and he's driving from right to left, he gets one in his side armor and he's dead. So I'm not sure if that was a risk he had to take here. I'm not sure that was really necessary. I mean, he could just have gone like from here to here, and then in the bush. But again, in a game like this one, you make some mistakes, sometimes you oversee stuff, that's totally normal. So, now he's almost done with the left river side here, again Skyhawk. Yeah, and that was a nice example why the Skyhawk is not a bad airplane at all. If you know where the anti-air is, you can normally snipe it with the Skyhawk pretty easy. It works almost every time. It's so much more effective than a Raven or a real bomber. But still, I'm not convinced you need it, because anti-air, you normally don't snipe anti-air too much, because it's so easy to bring more anti-air and more and cheap anti-air, like E-Glass or SAS or whatever it's called. But these people here, they use now the expensive anti-air. So here it's worthwhile, I guess. Noah, that's the thing with 3 rockets. Really dangerous in my opinion. Because he has no front defense with anti-air. Except the one SAS, which is not enough. And they know the enemy has a lot of cheap bomber, so it's not worthwhile with this one here. And now they go bombing on bombing. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, and the problem is, as you just saw, you normally need more than 1 rocket to kill. And 1 rocket is from the Noah just not enough. So in my opinion, it's better to have 2 anti-air. Yeah, 2 anti-air. Let's say 2 Avengers, or maybe two normal Chaparrals instead of 1 big Noah. It's easier to make a kill then. So, something going on the left side? Nope. Yeah, but here we see now nicely that he has killed all the infantry and all the buildings here. This was really expensive for the blue team. And I'm not 100% sure about all the numbers. What? Also, but I believe the blue team lost so much more points. And all the SAS, of course. Yeah, and also they conquered this riverside here as well, with the buildings and the forest. That could be tricky here. I always would disable the fuel on this one here, because you won't really have to repair and you want to have the ammunition. And this one normally has enough fuel. Wow! That was a hit in the side armor. He was really lucky. Well, kind of. But the first hit was in the side armor and it was really unnecessary risk. I don't know why he moved out here. I have no clue why he did it. But I was thought in the first place. Even the move from here to here was really risky because of the shoe mud. And here, because it was a super kill blow. I don't know why he did it. I have no clue. Must be a micro mistake. I mean, you first can just see with one of those units if someone is there. You can also just bring a scout. A scout has a good chance on this range to see actually the units. Like there, the scout here. And she knew by this infantry visible in the forest. So he knew there was a scout. So I'm not sure why he did it. Now he brings another tank. He won't survive. If he goes too close here, all the rockets will fly. And yeah, okay, that's for the transport. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I'm really surprised by the moves. I mean, this airplane here is really expensive, and they knew there's a Noah. The Noah already fired twice. Well, this one fired twice, so it's actually twice Noah, but they knew it's here, and this airplane is way too expensive to just move it in here. I don't know. I believe in those games, you're a little, you're a lot of excited, of course, because you know your enemy is really good. And then it's also very stressful because you want to do your best and you click a lot and fast. And maybe that leads to mistakes. I can't explain some of the moves otherwise. I mean, like the airplane, it didn't need to die. Like the big tank didn't need to die. I'm not sure why here's a big tank or not a scout. There are some mistakes, but of course the gameplay is really good in general here from both sides. I mean, the best game you can see right now in Wargame. A lot of people complain about the so-called spam, like you bring 4 of those cheap units here, and here 4 of these cheap units. But actually, it makes more fun for me if it's this kind of gameplay, because you see more explosions, you have more action, and the only way, by the way, to really attack some buildings and forests. Otherwise, if you go with an expensive unit, like the expensive tank you just saw dying here, you see what happens. You go out, there's a building, oh, there was an infantry, I'm dead. You need to have the cheap units. The meta game, there's no way to play a different meta game right now. And in my opinion, it's not a problem, because I really like to have some units on the field. It more feels like war and not like a one tank. For those of you who played European Escalation, the very first, sometimes you only had a few cheap tanks and that's it, and it didn't feel like warfare at all. So, but yeah, I can also understand some people that complain about the spam, the so-called spam, but I'm not convinced it's a problem. Well, this is now, let's pause here for a second. He knows here's an infantry and here's an infantry that shoot rockets. Both have fired rocket on a super expensive tank before and killed him. He knows that. Now, he knows there are 4 units that are made to kill tanks on close range. They're on close range now, and now he comes out of the forest, exposed his side armor to both infantry, well 3 in total, and attacks someone that is focused on close range. Why is he doing that? I mean, that's like a huge mistake. Let me zoom in for some action. I mean, he's lucky that they're out of rockets. Oh, he sees his mistake and moves back. But the first hit was like 4 damage, and the second hit just missed him. I would move back, more back. I mean, his cannon is jammed, so he can't even fire back, but I wouldn't stand here and let him shoot on me. He can move back, it's not a problem. It's not the engine damage, whatever. Well, he's panicked, maybe that's the reason why. But normally, he's panicked enough. Yeah, but that was a bad move in the first place. He knew exactly what he's up to, and I don't know why he did it. I have no clue. It's the third big tank he's risking for no reason. The first one was here on the open, second was here, and that's the third. I'm not sure I like the tank management, but yeah, as I said, sometimes you have a bad day for some units, that happens. So now there's a scout here, and a scout on the top. It's really hard to spot those scouts. Sometimes you can be 300 meter with a scout next to him and you don't see him. It's really annoying. You need to remember to disable the weapons, otherwise you make yourself visible when you fire. Now he's going over the water here, that's really nice. These things here, they can go fast, really fast over the water, 50 km per hour. And now he's over the water and he's clearing some of the forest. Yeah, here you see one of the problems, the big tanks. He has 3 big tanks already here in this area, 2 lost and 1 super damaged. Instead of that, he could have like 30 cheap tanks, or 10 or 20 points or whatever. And this one would easily have held the whole front line. So you see, you have some mass, at least mass, you know, like a lot of units, to have some defense, have some sight, can fight off cheap units like those 2 here. You don't die immediately with a lot of your units or a lot of your income from rockets, so you have to have some area covered, and he bought 2 expensive tanks and 2 expensive anti-air in my opinion. Well, here's some more tanks, but they're just here, not sure what's going on. Here's a nice micromanagement from the flamethrower. He knows those buildings most likely have infantry, he most likely didn't see them, but he knows they should be here. And then he's just using his flamethrower without any big risk and clears the buildings. Well, on the same time, this one just moved from one building to another one, so you don't make any damage. And now he lost his flamethrower, but still it was a nice move. And now you can be certain nobody's in here, and when he's moving now his infantry over, there's even a smoke cover to protect him. You can just wait here when the smoke and the fire is gone, or just fire's gone, then you jump into the building immediately. Well, he has no infantry to cover it up, so actually this move it made no sense, and he also could have made it from the forest without losing his unit, but you know my meaning. You can actually really assault some of those choke points if you have a flamethrower and have some backup. So, but now he is on the other side with a lot of cheap units, and it's amazing what they can do. The problem really here is, well, I just see another advantage from this tank. It can go over water, while the Ontos, I believe, cannot go over water. And that's actually not bad. I mean, the fuel and the water advantage really makes it worthwhile. The Ontos just, they don't give you the advantage, but they give you more firepower, 4 times more firepower, I believe. But this one's actually a nice feature too. It's working only on this map, I believe, but this one is really deciding the battle here, because now he can easily place his truck here, and it's safe. If he places his truck here and he doesn't control the forest, and here's a scout, normally your truck is not safe anymore. So, and now they also know that the command vehicle of the blue side must be in this area, which means it just can bomb this area. And most likely will be an infantry, you would expect that. Normally it wouldn't be a vehicle on open ground. So and now we have Prowler, Corsair. Yeah, I'm not convinced that was worthwhile moving in. He's most likely tried to find the infantry, the Schumann that already made so much damage. But I'm not sure that it was really worthwhile it. Ooh, some nice rockets. Now they have their Noahs in the right position, and 2 Noahs can, as we see, easily finish off any airplane. Fighting Falcon. Let me see. Maybe I can give you a rocket hit view. I always try to get some nice action in my camera. It's not very easy, but I try. Okay, it's not shooting anymore. It's maybe empty. Yeah, too bad. I wanted to show you guys some nice explosions. But anyway, as I said, they know the truck must be here, the command vehicle, and they bombed the whole area. Well, lucky for them it was here, but there's always a little bit guessing. But it's just a matter of time when they know exactly where it is. They know now it's not here, so next time they will bomb one more, a little bit more north, I guess. So from the winning points, it's still a fair game, I believe, but of course, if you need only one more point to win the game, then the random and hunter team has an advantage right now. But it can change any second. No? You just need to kill the truck for a couple of minutes and then it has changed. By the way, random and hunter is this blue team, but they lose already the sector here, and I don't see that they get it back. For the red team, they can place their truck here, here or here, so it's really hard to snipe the red truck. On the left side, still nothing going on. The scout is still here. Let's see, what can he see with the scout? He's not seeing too much with the scout, but he can see at least all the reinforcements. For example, now he knows 2 Noah coming in, so he knows he can send in another Prowler. It's not bad to have that. I mean, if you destroy those 2 with 70 points, then the scout already is worth while his money. So I would bring seed rockets. Not anti-seed rockets, seed rockets. He brings the second truck, just to be safe. Well, truck, command vehicle, you know. Because they know it's going about these just a few points will decide the game at the end, so they have a backup one on the field. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what the blue team has as an answer right now. Because right now, as another bombing run. Okay, let's see. This time they will bomb from here. Bombe! Yeah. And as I said, next time they come and bomb a little bit more north and they got the command. Well, you can always try to move from this building to this one to avoid this one. But if you do, the enemy will know it was not here, and he will also know you just moved it from this area somewhere else. So next time he won't bomb this area, he will bomb again the same area. So it was not really an option for the blue team to do anything, except for waiting for the death of the units. I mean, he could have used maybe some interceptor here that circles the area, but it's really hard to intercept some bomber that can come at any point. So you circle here, and then you're out of fuel, and then the bomber will come normally. Oh, some nice flank. Well, kind of nice. It's good to have an idea how many units you have here. I mean, with a little bit luck, you could have shot the chopper well for 70 points. 2 helicopters sneak through the middle. They have a good minigun, and they are also, on top of that, armored. Here's a minigun. Should be on both sides, shouldn't it? Okay, maybe not. Yeah, and now he pings him, they're sneaking in. Yeah, the problem is you need some resources to counter it, and here's the Avenger, and the Avenger should be able to kill both without any problem. The problem now is the command of an hotel is not in this area here. At least they believe it's not here. Normally if you command infantry in the forest, you can disable the weapons, and these helicopters won't be able to see it. So always disable the weapons on your command infantry. Okay, Corsairs. Yeah, they try to clear out the bushes here. I'm not sure if they're doing a good job. I mean, most of them are tanks, so they don't mind the napalm bomb too much. And here, the Fighting Falcons coming again. Where's he bombing? Yeah, the problem really is, these 3 Fighting Falcons that come at the same time, they do a lot of damage here, and they snipe the commands, and they keep the pressure up, and also they force the blue team a little bit into anti-air, but if you have anti-air, you don't have attack units, and if you don't have attack units, you don't make any command points, which means you're screwed in the end. And it's just 30 minutes to go, so they need to push a little more. Let me see, from the points... Yeah, I believe if they don't change anything, they will lose, the blue team. I always need to look. Well, blue team. Yeah, random is top. Blue team has +1. Nee, random. No, blue team is here, the south team, and random hunters the south team. Exactly. So red team will win because of +1 because of the middle sector here, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. So I'm almost sure who is winning, and also they always sneak through the middle, because this front is just open, and they do a nice job here by sneaking in helicopters, infantry, comes the bombers. They already know there's no anti-air in this area because the helicopter weren't shot down by anything. So which means they can sneak in even with more helicopters or with more bombers, and they also have an idea that the truck is most likely in this area and not in this one because they didn't see with the helicopter. I mean, as I said, if you have command infantry and disabled all the weapons, the helicopter wouldn't have seen it at all, but normally you believe you would have seen it, so I guess they guess that the command is here, which is also right. Yeah, it doesn't really look good. Not at all for blue team. I'm not sure why they have so much defense everywhere. Sometimes it's better to have less defense on the flank and push in the middle, because then the enemy cannot flank you, because otherwise you would lose the middle. So I'm not sure if they have a good and smart setup on the top here. There are way too many troops, they're doing nothing. But well, that's just me, and I'm not playing top 10 like those 4 players, so it's just one thing that I think right now, but they certainly have a reason for everything they do. What the hell? Some lights? That's to fight Hulk, you know, the thingy where they use against Hulk. You have the, I don't know what's called in English. But if you watch Hulk, you know what I mean. So now they have a lot of tanks here. They're nicely spread out. You can do that by mark all these tanks. Just mark them and then right mouse click, hold it down, and then move your mouse to the right or to left. Depends on what line you want to have. So this way they are not too exposed to bombers. And now he is trying to assault the forest, because that's the first place you have to go when you want to go to the command. So, and it's really a nice move. The only problem is those tanks here, or whatever you want to call it, they're pretty good in standing fire, and they have first shot because of the forest, which means those tanks had no chance in the first place. But it was a nice try. What you can do against the cheap things with low armor, you can use some mortar that have a fire rate, that's the name, and then you just mortar the whole area, not smoke or whatever crap, just mortar here, here, and those units will be either dead or be stunned, and then you can easily attack. And the mortar is not too expensive, and with the high fire rate, even 2 mortars will do the job most likely. A new helicopter just for scouting, and he spotted. That's a problem with these commands here. Normally infantry is much better, and also you should always use some with 10 health points and at least some armor in my opinion. So, but they know now where the command is, which means they don't use artillery, which means they bring in bombers pretty soon. As soon as the bombers are ready, they bring them in. Here's the Skyhawk, most likely he gives a try with the Skyhawk, but also the other bombers will come in pretty soon. Here's the next one, scouting for the command. It's not necessary because they are already in the lead, but they want to make it certain. Yeah. And dead. And here, if this would have been a normal command with some armor, then it wouldn't have died from the cheap bomber. So that's why I normally really suggest to bring commands that cost at least 140 points. They normally come with decent armor, 10 life points instead of 5. Problem is they are easier spotted than this one here, but this one was spotted by a helicopter with no optics, so with poor optics. Which means it makes no big difference, but the armor makes difference for the cheap bomber. Yeah, these Noahs shoot down the helicopter. I'm not sure if you needed to use so many expensive rockets. Normally, if you have the micro, and I know it's really hard to have the micro in those games, but if you have, disable those guns so you won't waste a super expensive rocket for a helicopter that is already killed by the rapier. So now he's moving in again with infantry, but I see it lost. I don't see anything the blue team can do to make a difference. There's not even any anti-air anymore. So yeah, I would say that's it. Well, actually here's the helicopter spam through the middle. Funny enough. Let's see if we can see some action. Here again, this one, it only dies because it's one without armor. So all these helicopters you see here, they normally have no chance to kill it if you have an armored one. Well, maybe for the minigun from the Cobra, but normally you don't see Cobras doing this kind of job you just saw. Normally they come with a normal MG. Yeah, but if you had one with an armor for 140 points or even more, nothing would have happened here. Well, it's not that it makes a big difference. +4? What the fuck? They also made a sneak attack on the left side, got this +2, and also got this one for a second here. Okay, maybe that's changing something. Yeah, one must say, if you don't have good commands, and when you see what kind of damage he already took, I believe here again the command was really low armored. Yeah, if you don't invest too much in command, then this one is really something that can happen to you. You easily die, even by mortar or by cheap artillery or a cheap bomber or a cheap helicopter spam. That's just because they don't have enough command. But they had a second command infanterist here. Right, I believe this was this one here, and the command truck, maybe they used from here to here now to get the sector back. Yeah, now they have a big problem. Point-wise, they can still lose it. They most likely lose it because of their cheap command vehicles. And they also had not enough scouts and not enough anti-air in this whole area. I mean, there was not amazing helicopters they sent to destroy those two commands. Command is coming, but even if he gets the sector, it might be too late by the time. That's really late, maybe. I mean, they have 7 minutes. If they get a second command as is coming here, it might work, but here's an SAS waiting for the Iltis. And here again, it's not an armored one. I don't get it. I really don't. Yeah, he saw him. And here's the Corsair coming to clear it. Okay, he's moving nicely out and is really fast. He didn't drop his bomb. Maybe he saw it. Maybe it was not enough time to drop it. He brings new tanks, but it costs valuable time and points. And it's not that they have time and points. Helicopter coming to intercept. Yeah, I mean, it's really a sad thing that a game that is decided by fighting and skill, all game over, is then decided at the end with some cheap units sneaking behind enemy lines. Like this one here, again. I really don't like the command sniping part where you win because of command sniping, but then again, you normally have a better fight because you save money for your commands. So if you do that, you deserve to lose some commands, in my opinion. And we're talking not about a big investment. I mean, a command for 100 points or command for 140 points won't make a huge difference in terms of fighting in the sector, but it would make a difference if a cheap bomber is coming or a cheap helicopter. So now I got it all back. And 5 minutes to go. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, but what we can see in general here with both teams that play, top 10, they use the same meta game. They have almost identical units. I mean, like the MK5 mixed up with some bigger tanks, like the SAS infantry, the same bombers. Yeah, the thing is they use the same units because those units are a little bit overpowered. I mean, as I said before, the MK5 is the only tank in the entire game that has an armor of 9 points for 15 points. And that makes it really special. We checked out a lot of stuff how to kill this tank easily, and there's no easy way to kill it because of the 9 points. It should have 7 points or 6 points to make a difference, so you can one-hit it with some weapons. But as it is right now, it's so overpowered that everyone is using it. Maybe give it less fuel, that would help. Maybe give it, well, not a worse cannon, because you not use the cannon at all, you just use the armor. Less armor and less fuel would actually help to bring some variety in the game. But if you want to play on a high level and you want to play ranked, there's almost no way to avoid this kind of setup. And even so, if they would change a little bit in the MK5, then you go back to the pack gameplay where you use the zoo, either from the Russians or from the Poland or what their other countries are, and you do the zoo spam. So there's a lot to do in the game. And in the forum, there's a nice post about what's wrong with tanks right now. Let's see if I find the links and I put it in the description. But still, as it is right now, it's still fun to play, even so it's not perfect. So now they find another command, and here again they look for the command. The command is only visible right now because it used its guns. If the guns would have been disabled, they wouldn't know where it is. I don't know why they don't disable the guns, especially for the infantry when it's covered by other units. There's no reason to have the guns activated. Yeah, but from the points here, I don't know. It was really a yeah. It could have gone both ways, I believe. Yeah, they got the command. They only got the command. Well, they got the command, I thought. What's going on here? Is it moving? And the mortar or artillery is shooting. It could make a difference if you see the points. Here again, if you had a command here with, let's say, top armor of 1 and 10 life points, the artillery wouldn't kill it, because this one is a cheap artillery, the cheap shooting. Well, not a cheap one, but it's not the big one with 2 shots. So if you have top armor, then you wouldn't die from the artillery. And it's dead. And now it's ticking for the other side again. For blue team. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, all sides lost trucks, and it's not the first game they lose the command trucks, and they still use, say, unarmored ones. So, but there's nothing more happening here. I'm not gonna watch 2 minutes in slow motion for command sniping. It's really not exciting at all. But I will finish the game to see the points. And just to see who has won. Because all the exciting fighting is over. Now it's just command sniping and it's super boring. But that's their own fault. If they have commands with armor, then it wouldn't happen. So now the game is over. Let's see if we can get some results. It's a draw. I believe when it's a draw, the only way it's a draw is it was a lobby game, because in ranked games you don't have draws anymore, if I recall right. If you have 1 point more than your opponent, then it's not draw, then you have 1. So most likely they made a lobby game. So from the points, it was almost equal from the points, but here again, it doesn't show how good you are in the fighting, because at the end, you go for command sniping. If you're successful with command sniping, you get a lot of points with no too much skill. And also, if you go for command sniping and you're not successful, you lose a lot of points without the enemy having a lot of skill. So the point's not saying too much, but it's saying at least a little bit about the skill. So it's kind of a fair game. But since they played the same metagame, the same units, the same strategies, it was to expect it. And they have the same micromanagement, which is really amazing with with all players here. So yeah, that was quite a nice game. Not too exciting after the first 20 minutes, because then the sniping and the stalling started. But the beginning was really exciting for me. Yeah, I would say that's it. If I find more replays that are exciting, I also need to decide if I make it in my German channel or an English one. So I can't promise that it will come anytime soon, the next one. But if I find one and I'm in the mood for English, I will bring it to you on my channel here. So, bye bye.